This is the Canik Mete MC9. It is chambered in 9mm. This is a striker-fired pistol. Has a 15-round extended magazine, has a flush 12-round magazine, replaceable back straps. It has a rail up front for your lights, and it also has a nice little accent on the trigger. And you also have a cutout for your red dot. Canik sent this gun to me because they wanted to see my thoughts on the gun. So, Canik decided that they wanted to enter the micro compact handgun ring. Apparently all the companies are doing it. I don't blame them, I'd be doing the same thing. Because by and large, there are way more people who are living a lifestyle that's more conducive to carrying a smaller gun. And if the goal is to have a gun on you as much as possible, you're gonna want a gun to kind of conform around your lifestyle versus trying to change your lifestyle around the gun. We live in the modern age, we can do things like that now. Now we have smaller guns with higher round capacity than what we used to have before. Before, the gold standard for this was the Glock 26, had 10 rounds and was fat as hell. Now you have this gun, which is about the same profile as the Glock 26, except it's slimmer and carries 15 rounds or 12 rounds when it has a flush magazine in it. And then you also have that cutout for the red dot. From a look standpoint, if there's ever gonna be aesthetically a Glock killer, the Canik brand of firearms is gonna be that gun, because it does look like a Glock, except with a little bit more personality. I know all the Glock fanboys out there, I don't care about the Glock fanboys. It has more personality aesthetically than a Glock does. So some people like the kind of more modern, sleek minimalism that the Glock has aesthetically, but this particular gun said, you know what? I'm gonna add a little bit more pizzazz. I'm gonna be a little bit more swaggy than a Glock is, without doing too much. So you got the things like this red accent on this trigger, you got slide serrations, and you also have other kind of cutouts on the frame as well. And then of course you have this stippling on the grip, which I actually love, this granular stipple grip texture shit. And then you have this very HK-esque kind of surfboard slide lock on the gun as well. And I think together it comes together and it presents as a really good looking gun. And considering this is in a more affordable price range, basically coming in cheaper than a Glock, I don't think it gives that off from an aesthetic standpoint. It doesn't look like a cheaper version of a Glock, if you ask me. But some people's miles may vary, or some people are just blind and don't know anything about aesthetics.
Before you finish watching this video, I want to take some time to thank today's sponsor, CF Moto. CF Moto makes quality ATVs and side-by-sides at prices that are the best on the market. In 2020, their C-Force 1000 Overland was voted ATV of the Year by ATVillustrated.com. So if you're looking for a quality ATV or side-by-side at an affordable price, be sure to check out cfmotousa.com.
All the ammo used in this video was brought to you by Nosler.
Now, from a shooting standpoint, how does the Canik Mete MC9 shoot? Well, I'll tell you. Yeah. So my first shot shooting this gun isn't, oh my God, this thing recoils so light, I can't believe it barely has any recoil for a gun this size. The recoil on the gun is not stout. It's not hard recoiling. It's just what you expect from a gun this size and how it recoils. I think anybody who has any ability to kind of manage recoil will be fine with this gun. The gun recoils in my hands it's really kind of a non-starter for the most part. It's not a gun that makes me go, ooh, I would hate to shoot this gun a lot. And the way I kind of like judge recoil is, would I want to take this gun out on a range day and shoot a lot of rounds through it? That's kind of the barometer I use to establish whether or not a gun recoils the way I like it to or it doesn't. This particular gun recoils in a way that if I had to come out here and shoot it all day, which I've kind of already been doing, it's still enjoyable. I don't dread having to actually go and shoot the gun. So if you want to look, it's like, I'm not really giving much of a grip on the gun. And I just want you to watch the gun and see how it's recoiling from your eye standpoint. So even when I'm kind of giving it a baby grip, like I said, I still enjoy shooting it. It's a gun that I'm not afraid to go to the range and shoot several hundred rounds through it. Like there are some guns that are really small and you dread the idea of having to shoot anything more than 50 rounds. So just kind of under normal situational type shooting at the range recreationally, if I'm just shooting 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, very slow kind of cadence, gun is a pleasure to shoot. Now the crazy thing is under like, say for instance, a mag dump, the gun runs. It runs and it's easy to do. Every gun can run fast if you can pull the trigger fast enough, but some guns are easier to shoot fast faster than others. And these are one of the guns that kind of really run. And a lot of that has to do with the trigger. The trigger on this gun is exceptional. And honestly, that's kind of par for the course with most Caniks. The triggers are just good, and I'm gonna show you how. The one gun that comes to mind when I think about comparability in terms of the trigger would be the Walther P99 anti-stress, and at the final edition, I just did a video on it. And more by and large, they kind of have the same trigger, except they're completely different triggers because that one has a double action single. However, the reset is very similar. So for instance, like I said, got the break, boom, that's the reset. Break, boom, that's the reset. Boom, break, that's the reset. So what ends up happening is when you have a reset like that, you just run the gun. So that's why this gun is so phenomenally easy to run. And when it comes to a concealed carry gun, you want a gun that'll get out of your way. You want a gun that'll let you be as good a shooter as you possibly can without making it harder for you. And a gun that is fluid like that, I think this gun does a great job of doing, especially being a concealed carry gun. Now, who is this gun for? What type of concealed carrier? Well, like I said before, it's for someone who's looking for a really small gun who doesn't want the gun to become an issue in their day-to-day life. The problem with those is they're not really fun to shoot. You don't look forward to shooting them, and it's really hard to shoot them well. So when you start playing in this category here, you're asking a lot of the gun, and the gun has to deliver it. So consider where the price point is on this gun. I like it. The gun, ergonomic, from an ergonomic standpoint, feels good in hand. It is a rather slim gun, which aids in the ability to conceal carry the gun in the first place. But nonetheless, I mean, I have kind of small, fattish hands, but the gun still feels great. When I put the flush magazine in the gun, shooting with the flush magazine, my pinky does kind of fall off a little bit. That doesn't bother me. It does bother some people, but we are talking about 12-round magazine that's flush and creates a small package like this. It's kind of hard to beat that. And then you factor in the price point of this particular firearm sitting underneath the Glock. Honestly, I have a love affair with the Glock 43X. I've always loved the Glock 43X, but if I'm gonna be completely and utterly honest, if you had to ask me between the two, it's kind of negligible at that point. Then you start talking about the trigger, then you start talking about the ability to run a red dot on it, even though I don't really like micro. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of the micro red dots that are on the market personally, but if I could, I'd put a Delta Point Pro in here or another full-size red dot if I could, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the micro compact. All things considered, for anyone who's on the market looking for something that's affordable and they want a gun that just get out of the way, they don't have to think about carrying, get a holster, throw it in your pocket, and you almost forget you have a gun on you, I think the Canik Mete MC9 is one of those guns. And I think at a certain point what it boils down to is kind of like, if you're a Glock loyalist, then get your Glock. But if you're just looking for something and you're like, I want a good gun at a good price and I want to carry it with a high round count, you should definitely check out this one.
You know, we talk a lot about empowerment in this country, except for when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.